Donna? First thing on the agenda is to review and approve the minutes.
I move they accept it as printed.
I'll second that. Okay.
Next thing is to review and approve the warrants.
I move they be accepted as written.
Second it?
I missed you last week.
What, was I here last week? It was the week before. Yeah, well, you weren't here.
Right, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I wasn't here the week before
That's right, you were there.
because
I
I
know it was-
had company, but I was here last week.
Yeah, he wasn't.
It was a baseball game.
You were at a baseball game?
My granddaughter,
Yes.
you know, she goes to Falmouth to
Yep.
school,
Yep.
and then middle school's got a chorus,
Yep.
and they sung the national anthem at the Sea Dogs game. So I wanted
Oh,
to see.
you had to see that. Now, that's important.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got to do that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got a granddaughter. I wish I did.
The next thing, the 79 Pigeon Brook Road status. Here we got another dwelling down there.
We do. It's been reported. I'm going to take a look. Don, I'm gonna give you this.
All right.
And we can talk about it later, but, that was an email I sent to you several months ago concerning what's going on down there, and then the number and the name, and, give me a call later.
All right.
Talk to me later.
All right.
We'll see what we can do about having a look. Having a look.
Oh, have no look, yeah, okay. Do you want me to call in before I call you, or after?
After call.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, the next thing is the 19 Dibden Road status.
Camper disappeared, or the RV disappeared, showed up somewhere else, and it's gone from there, right?
Right, we went over to the church in East Baldwin briefly, and disappeared, and it was seen for a brief period of time at the Whistle Stop restaurant, and then it disappeared altogether, as far as I know. I have no idea where it is.
I can tell you it's not at San Paul. It wasn't up at the school here. I come up Sunday night to just check.
Right, I checked too on Sunday, something like that, because I figured this might be the next place they'd leave it.
I didn't check the ball field like I told you I was gonna. I forgot all about it when I left here today, so I don't know.
Bless you.
No, I went around to make sure that I didn't see anything.
Well, there's another ball field down the back of Livingston Lumber.
Oh, that's right.
Last year, there was a snack shack fire. Somebody had sat down there, so that's what made me think of it being
Yeah.
a place.
So we got a ghost camper driving around.
Don, what's happened with Jesse Winters?
I still gotta get a hold of him. I've been going crazy trying to do everything else, but I will.
He needs to come over and get sworn in.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that that is.
Yeah.
I will give him a call then.
You have his phone number?
I think I do. Do you have it right there? If you do, if you don't, I'm pretty sure I have it.
I'll give you what I got. Six oh four, 4804.
4804?
Yeah.
It's 207.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the number I have.
Okay, the next thing, Robin, is the town report status.
It went this morning.
So everything's a go right now. Good, good job.
So hopefully they'll have time to review it and put it together and send it over for a proof and then, get it out in the mail in a timely enough fashion so that people can have it prior to meeting.
A lot of work.
Thank you, guys. And girls.
What can you tell me about the water system status now? When it's up and running and everything?
Yeah, you came in on Friday and finished it up. And when I turned it on, that valve that I showed you in the email.
Yeah.
Made that noise. I went over and put my hand on it, I could feel it vibrate.
Yeah.
But has it been all right?
Yep.
Get the air out of the system now.
We went from fixture to fixture, whether it be sink or toilet, used or unused, because a lot of these rooms still have toilets in them. And, they may be a little dried out, but, it still could get air in there, so we flushed them all, turned on all the faucets from one end of the building to the other, and, you could detect a little bit of air, you know, it would sputter a little bit, but, maybe that's all it was, because it's been completely silent, so, yeah.
And while we're on that, I was going through the files in there, and I came through all the Baldwin property ones. There's some information, like when these buildings were built and things, but in terms of, I remember we weren't sure how deep the well was, for example, although we know now. And, we've done this work there. I didn't know if it was a good idea, I don't know if you keep files of those here somewhere, maybe you do, but if we had another copy of them, I put it in the property file. Because there are permits in there for all the town buildings when they put in septic systems into various and sundry things. It might be good to keep them current, that's all.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a report or anything about the depth of the well. I don't think we got any report. I don't know, maybe,
It was communicated to us verbally, and
it was me, because I stood out there and watched them do it.
Right, and I recorded it in
Kinda hard to get
the
you in
meeting
file,
notes,
but we can try.
but I don't know how far that will go, but I remember,
I should probably write up a summary of what,
Well,
I sent the little ones there, that piece of paper that
Mhm.
talks about what's inside the room.
Right.
which is right here at the, operating note.
Yeah.
Well, it just seemed like a good idea, because down the road, probably won't need to deal with it for a long time, but some other people might be here then that don't know the information, it's good to have it in there.
There's also a summary that I need to do about how to bypass all these heating units if they freeze up again. Because it allows you to keep water circulating to those that are good.
You never would have known that if it hadn't froze up, right?
Well, that one had bypasses in it, luckily,
Yeah.
and the others were froze up enough so the water didn't come out. And so it gave us a couple days to get the pipes broken open and put bypass valves in. Otherwise, we would have been screwed.
Oh, it was spurting out of this one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can shut it off without,
It was squirting out of there, and I went back in there and tried to turn the valves off, but it still was squirting out. Luckily, I had the key to get into that corner side over there. And, that's where the valves are, in here, behind that panel.
It's been a lot worse.
All the other 1, 2, 3, the valves are up in the ceiling, so you gotta know where to look for them too. Gotta have a ladder, have a water fountain.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is LD 2003.
Okay, several of us, there was 4 people from Baldwin that went to the meeting up in Denmark. What?
5 actually.
5 people from Baldwin.
Yeah.
Don't forget
4
that.
people from, don't forget them, that's important.
Yes,
There was, 4 people from the town offices, anyway, planning board, select board, CBO, to participate and listen on what the representatives from DECD had to say about LD 2003. They were, Dan and Hillary, and they were responsible for writing the rules for implementation of this new law. And essentially what they said is, ignore it at your own risk. So, subsequent to that, was it last Thursday night, at the planning board, we talked about it a bit, and I volunteered to draft up a revision to the land use ordinance that implements those portions of LD 2003 that will be, that are going to be mandatory as of July 1st, as far as we know. And we do it in the least obtrusive way. So I've sent that out to everybody that raised their hand at the planning board the other night. And we can talk about it tonight, since this is a public meeting, if anybody wants to sit around and chat about anything that you've seen or saw so far. I haven't received a lot of comments. I got Joe's, but I haven't received anything that actually suggests any changes to anything that I put in there, beyond that. So,
I might add, there is a possibility that LD 2003 will be delayed a year or more, we don't know. And as Bob says, it's at your own risk. There are towns that are going to change their complete land use ordinance. He named 3 that already have their ordinance ready to go for town meeting in June. Brownfield hired a lawyer to do theirs, and they got it past the planning board. It went to the selectmen. The selectmen said, stop, let's see what's going on before we move any further. And Bridgeton did something very much the same, I think. And I just mention this by way of saying this whole thing's a crapshoot. We don't know what's going on. So my comment, to Bob was along the lines of my worries here are that some people, some landowners might take advantage of this quickly and do damage to the town. I see places where damage could be done. My personal worry is the Highland District, because I own 3 different woodlots in the Highland District, and I know how hard it would be to fit a house on 2 of those, and to make it from 10 acres, take it down to all you need is 5 acres. Just like, oh my God. The slopes are steep, the soil is thin, what there is of it,
Mhm.
And it worries me to put up any more impermeable surface and stuff that catches water and directs it, and you could just have a mess, and then, I don't know, woodlot right next to the Winstons, and you guys have been talking all winter about the guy who's, you know, the Winston kid who stayed up there, and gee, you know, with LD 2003, I could put 6 dwelling units right up there, right next to the Winston's house. And you guys wanna stop me. You should wanna stop me.
I know where you live.
You know, Norm McKinney really twisted my arm. I was gonna give that woodlot to my son. He wanted, you know, I eventually gave him a woodlot over off Douglas Hill Road. But he really wanted to be there. There were great views, it was beautiful. Norm twisted my arm every time I saw him. Oh, okay, well, but, so I'm just, that was a change that I wanted to do something about.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I went through, and those of you who've seen it, I just went through and applied it. Where our ordinance says one thing, I applied the rule. And there's a lot of wiggle room for us to apply the rules, so.
I think Bob did a great job. I would not have done that. I mean, I just wouldn't have done it. You know, maybe 20 years ago I would have been more ambitious, but my ambition's gone. I'm not gonna do it. I'm very grateful to Bob for having done that too.
But, one of the things I would like to do is establish a meeting for our group, publicly announced for sometime next week. So,
We do have a planning board on Thursday, a planning board meeting, and as you can see, you invited the planning board, and 2 of us came. We do not have a reputation for coming on nights other than Thursdays.
yeah.
And I do worry about the main open meetings law.
Yeah,
You know.
so we can either, I mean, we have to proceed fairly quickly, we're not gonna make the deadline. So we can either just do it at the planning board meeting, because that's where everybody is, with the exception of Laura Downing. And that might be the easiest thing to do, but we need to progress pretty quickly through it, and then meet again at the workshop the following Tuesday, and hopefully we can get through all the comments and modifications, and then,
It does have to go, I think, it does have to go to the planning board for approval before it goes to a town meeting. No? I
it's
thought
an
all,
ordinance.
I thought all land use ordinances had to go,
I'm
had to
not
be
sure
approved
they
by the
do,
planning board.
but if you find a rule that says so.
Okay, I think perhaps in our, what do you call it, in our charter, that it's there.
Okay. Whatever, but we need to do it pretty quick, because then we have to go to a public hearing
Yep.
before we take it to a town meeting, so.
We have one item on the agenda, it's a conditional use permit for Al Clark. We've got a public hearing, and then typically for a meeting like this, I would guess 45 minutes, no more than an hour. And then I think we're probably open. I might put it on the agenda if you could send it out. Well, I guess I have it, I could send it out to the planning board so that we might,
I'm gonna take another hack at it,
oh, okay.
because, if you go through, all of the comments, 120 or whatever, we've read all those things, actually there's 170, 185 comments, and in the comments are some very enlightening things, as I was saying before, there's the law and then there's case law. And these comments inform you of that it's not so bad as we thought it was gonna be. Like, we're not required to allow an ADU on a non-conforming lot.
Can I ask what an ADU is?
Accessory dwelling unit.
Okay, thank you.
Well, where I was going, Bob, was if we could have it sent out to the planning board by Tuesday of next week,
Yeah, I'll try to get through it.
then I will put it on the agenda for the planning board to approve of it
Or look at it.
on Thursday.
Yeah.
If you think you think we're ready.
Well, I think I gotta go through it again, because I know that there's some holes in it already, but just having read the DECD comments.
Yeah, I guess my attitude is, it's probably imperfect, but we're better off with an imperfect ordinance that we come back and,
Yep.
you know, deal with later.
I think Dawn had something to say.
Well, just that I haven't told you yet, but a guy is also coming in on Harris Road. He wants to do a subdivision of 4 or 5 lots on the right down there. And there's a possibility of another fellow that wants to have a marijuana kind of a facility.
This takes precedence because I talked about it first.
Okay. That's fine. I don't think the other one takes very long. I know, just wanted to get this stuff.
Thank you. Thanks.
The other thing we can do or consider is, just because it says you can put a duplex on everybody's lot, doesn't mean it's gonna be all right for a septic system.
Right.
And that has to be a part of it. And we could require that a backup field area be reserved for each, well, if we wanted to, that could slow things down quite a little bit, but,
Yeah, I think I put in there that you've got to prove in writing, I can actually do that, but, you know, that what you're proposing for terms of potable water and sewage can be handled on the lot, so. Anyway. All right, I'll get something out to you, and we'll talk about it next Thursday.
Great, thank you.
Okay, the next thing here is, Baldwin Active Kids, a camper credit request and child care business software. Did you guys read the email?
We did. I didn't read the software stuff, I read about the credit, and I think it's really, I would leave it to Megan to decide. Is she looking for,
She don't seem to know much about it.
I don't know, do we have anything that we know?
Well, I went back, because it was when I was working my time across the hall, so my documents proved that she had paid for the entire summer. What we didn't have for supporting documents were the child being out due to sickness. So that was an arrangement that, the parent and Ariel had. But she did send screenshots of the documented, interactions that supported, that Ariel had agreed to, credit her.
When she's from,
No, I don't need that. She's paid for it. I mean, she ought to be able to get a credit.
yeah. She won't get her money back, but she really wants to send her child to the summer program, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But she's got a Portsmouth, New Hampshire address. Did you see that?
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, I don't either. Then this child care business software, the building on that is, how's Debbie gonna pay for it? It says on the slip there that credit
$80 a
card.
month, right?
What's that?
$80 a month.
$79 a month?
Yeah.
Yeah, which isn't a lot of money, but.
So that is the same software, that Ariel used to manage hers. So we would, and rather having it have Megan set it up, so we don't run into difficulties once again. It should be a town account. And that way, somebody here has access to it, and we're funding it, so we don't have to worry about, reimbursing anybody down the road for their care accounts like we ran into before.
No, this isn't a billing account software.
No,
It's just communication.
You have that capability with it, but she's not gonna use it for that purpose.
Yeah.
It's more of an organizational thing and a communication thing, I think, with parents.
Oh,
So they can track, she can send them receipts, and they can keep, there is a part of it that is financial management, but payments would not be processed through this app. They would be processed through the town office as they always have been.
If that's what she thinks she needs to run the program, I don't see a problem with it.
I don't either.
The only hitch is, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but, we'll just have to be careful about our, monthly expenses, because we tend to, run over and max it out, and then we all get locked down.
That's where I was going with what I was saying and stuff, yeah, because I know that's happened in the past. So we'll have to talk to her and just let her know that she's gonna keep an eye on stuff too.
Because we increased the limits, but, it didn't, what it did was it increased her limits, not the entire town's limits. So it took away from, like, myself and Debbie, which isn't a huge deal, but the ambit, stuff comes out of me. So so that locks me up if I need to order, like, supplies for Randy, custodial stuff. So we just have to do a little tap dance, but we've been able to finagle it.
So you guys agree that it's a good program for her?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I move that we allow her to go ahead with it.
That's it.
Okay, fire department lease.
So, we took and, you guys have a copy?
I-
Get a copy?
Yeah, this is the edited one.
Okay, perfect. So, Steve and I and the other Steve and a couple of the other guys, we took North Baldwin's copy of their lease from Jimmy's father and went through it, changed everything to East Baldwin, and basically what it is that the East Baldwin Volunteer Fire Company is going to lease the town of Baldwin, our firehouse, and that way you guys have the contingent interest in it for us to become one step closer to becoming an actual municipal fire department, recognized by the state and MMA and everything, because as of right now, we run as 3 corporations funded by the town. So it's pretty much the identical thing, and Stevie's the president, so if you guys are like the agreement and want to sign it, Stevie's here to sign on behalf of the East Baldwin Fire Association and the fire department. And the collaboration has come up with the $5 for the 5-year lease.
Oh, that's right, Chris, well,
Yeah, you guys get 3. Alan does a 3-year. We talked about at our meeting, at the fire company meeting, and we decided a 5-year lease is sufficient, and we're willing to pay the town's $5 towards the lease. To make sure it's all legal. Questions, comments?
I'm all set with it.
Yeah,
I make a motion, we, sign the lease agreement to East Baldwin.
I've been trying to do this for years.
A lot of years.
Yeah.
It's been a very long time.
Yeah, I think, I'll need a pen. You got a pen?
Well, I can maybe, we got 2 different copies?
No, they should be the same. You only have to sign one, we'll photocopy the other one.
We wanted you guys to look at it ahead of time, so if you had any concerns before signing it tonight, we would be all set. Want to go in the other room and grab a pen?
I got one here.
Robin needs one as well.
I think we should have got special pens. This is like an executive order, or anything. Presidential pen.
We'll make us one step closer to the goal the town has been looking forward to. We'll buying a sign until we can figure out what we're gonna do with the other houses.
On a house.
All right.
Two out of three, we're on our way.
So now they got that obstacle to cross, right, West Baldwin.
Does it need a
Yeah.
government
Yeah.
stamp?
Probably.
With 2 out of 3 on board,
2 out of 3, really?
well, we've got North Baldwin's on board.
Oh, yeah.
And now East Baldwin's on board, it's only West Baldwin.
Right.
There's a slight hiccup with everything that we've already discussed.
Yeah.
Their lease versus our lease, to the leasing to lease issues. But it's one step closer.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I recall, this is 75 years for the fire department.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is, we are in very high hopes that by the 75th anniversary, it will be a town department. A legal beagle town department.
Okay, the next thing is burnout parties in East Baldwin.
Do I get an invitation? Somebody's gotta show me how to do that, I don't know how to do it.
You know, the way tires cost nowadays, that was
Did we get the complaint from anybody?
I only got one, I got that today, when I come up to the office at noontime.
And that one that Joe got, from the day before, right, the day before.
Before it happened, somebody complained?
Yep, I had 2 people complain to me before it happened.
2.
Wendy Clark said she was coming in here tonight, but I don't see her anywhere, so.
I think what helped was, I could see it down there, the smoke was going, the wind was blowing from west to east, so it wasn't, the smoke wasn't going down in the village area. And I think the sound was going that way too, so it was really going into the woods. Maybe people could hear it as bad.
Wind was going the right way then.
Yeah, that's, yeah, but.
If people have complaints about it, they should come to the, town office and just write a simple statement for it, something that we can document
Right.
an issue. For you, Don. I sent you an email about, it looked to me like it was a business.
It absolutely is the business. And one question I wanted to find out is exactly who the owner is, do we have a name?
His name is on the website.
The organizers on the website, the landowners,
Never been
yeah, Mary Bennett.
What is the name again?
Mary Bennett?
Merritt,
Merritt, Merritt, yeah.
he actually came in to talk to us about getting a CUP.
I was at that night.
That was back in the old, it was a while ago,
Yeah, probably 2 years ago.
more than that, it was before COVID,
Yeah, I don't know, but you're right.
you know?
Yeah.
It was before he bought the land, in fact.
Here's Wendy now, speak to the.
Sorry. I was gardening, I lost track of time.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that's all.
Does this fellow, Mary Bennett, does he live at that address, or is he?
Yeah.
somewhere else?
Yeah, he does.
He lives there? Okay. And there's 2 organizers listed there?
Yeah. What was it?
But it's his property, so,
We just deal with him directly.
yeah. But what I just gave you was also a state law on nuisances.
Mm-hmm. Which
It also apply.
definitely does.
We're talking about your problem right now.
You came in there at the right time.
Well, I'm good, I thought I missed it. So I was reading that,
It's a violation.
Right. but I can give them a notice of violation like we've done several times to other people.
What are the requirements?
Of the notice,
Yeah. What are your options?
my options are to inform them that they're in violation of ordinances and a way to correct it and all of that. But I would like to add a paragraph at the bottom that if they do not comply within 30 days, the town is prepared to take them to court.
Well,
If you don't wanna go that far, I think that would get a response out of them.
yeah.
Mostly the letters that I've written in the last 9 months or so have gone unanswered and nobody's done anything about it.
So how do you gauge compliance?
Well, they would have to apply within that time for a conditional use permit, for one thing. Or they would have to go before the Board of Appeals to say why they didn't feel they needed one. Or they would have to be served after that time frame, without or cease and desist their operation. That's how they got moved out of the town where they were before, at least that's what I understood.
Yeah. I'm not sure that they do one every 30 days, so whether that would, I'm not sure they hold a burnout party every 30 days, so.
Well, it would mean that if they serve them, if they were to do another one, that would be a more serious offense.
Okay, well, I'll
It's up
leave
to
it to
you, I'm
you.
just giving a suggestion.
I'm gonna leave it to you as to how you write the notice of violation. I think there's a couple of areas. There's I think that there's a need for a conditional use permit, and I think there's also a nuisance violation.
Well, I mentioned both of those in the email I sent you, I believe. I think you might.
Can I ask a question? The nuisance ordinance, doesn't that have to be criminal activity?
It wouldn't really apply here, unless, you have to, well, it might eventually, but, it has to be, criminal activity, and it needs to be repeated fairly frequently.
So, the police officer that I spoke with, the sergeant, said that between the hours of whatever it is in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, they can do whatever they want, they can make as much noise as they want. It's not, disturbing the peace, or, it's, unless it's after 10 o'clock.
I'm not sure I agree.
I agree. So they said it's really not up to us to, police that, it's the town. So the town,
It's not up to the police to police it, it's up to the town.
yeah.
And
So there would have to be an ordinance of noise,
I don't think so.
you know?
You just look at the activity, and if it looks like he's running a business, or if it looks like he's making a nuisance. And
But but doesn't the ordinance say criminal activity, or does it not?
The town one.
you're looking at the
The old,
ordinance that we wrote for,
Disorderly
house, but there's a state statute about just being a
Okay.
nuisance to your neighbors.
Yeah.
Exactly.
that was my question, because I had read the ordinance, and I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do, because it's not criminal.
No, we're not using it, we're using some other.
These are the state,
Okay.
yeah.
So there's a state ordinance, a state law, or ordinance about noise?
Well, it looks like a title chapter 91 nuisances, entitled 17 crimes, subchapter 3 particular nuisances, and it's listed about a page of it.
And does that one, require criminality,
No.
or just being?
Just being a nuisance.
Okay,
It didn't say anything about criminality that I can see,
okay,
but it does seem to apply very aptly to the
Yes.
situation.
okay. Well, that's good news.
So you would or would not be okay if I put that paragraph in about, or if they don't comply within a certain time, the town is prepared to go to court? Because that will get a heads up from them.
No,
You're okay with that?
yeah.
Okay. And I will get it to you folks before I send it out, make sure it's what you want, or do you want me to just send it out sooner than later? It's up to you.
Sooner than later is best.
Okay, I will get it right off.
Get it done.
I will do that right off. So we have Merritt Bennett on the address that we have for that. That's what I'll send it to.
I was a little surprised that the manager of a business that says it's going to come before the planning board multiple times over the next few years would so blatantly violate the ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
That just surprised me.
Me too.
Is that the same Brown that we've been dealing with before, that's one of the organizers? Got the same,
Gary Brown, yeah.
I was hoping it was a different
One thing.
one.
Yeah. Should know better.
Right. You don't feel we need to contact those two organizers as well, you just want to go with the, at this point?
You can do it if you want to.
The officer said there was 800 people there this time. Food trucks, vendors,
It's a business.
people screaming up and down the road, squealing tires
Yeah, I was gonna say, doing very.
for hours.
Yeah, I see the marks coming out of that driveway.
That's two different issues, because that's Steve Barry's children and the guy that lives on Fremont Ave.
Yeah.
And there's a number of people that do it all over the place, but
Yeah,
I know Steve Barry has his son's friend that stays there.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember his name right off. But he used to live with, Mr. Franklin, who lives right next to my horse pasture.
Okay, yeah.
So he
Okay.
threw him out, and then he went and lived with
Oh.
this guy, and he's driving like this old blue Chevy pickup with, no registration, no plate, driving around town, no plate, doing donuts in the middle of 107, gonna get somebody killed. And Barry's attitude is, well, mind your own business, none of your business. So I say, well, if he runs over one of my horses or he kills someone that's coming around that corner, it's gonna be my business.
Right there, Fremont Avenue and West Mill Road.
Mhm. And, they say, Jody, I guess, talked to them, and he said, it'll never happen again. Well, it's happening again.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, it's better they be doing this stuff here than traveling around drinking and stuff. And I'm like, what is the difference? You're putting people in danger anyway.
And it makes the town look trashy too. That's what makes me mad, you know?
And that's another nuisance, because you have to listen to those tires squealing.
Yeah.
And every time you go up there, you know, you're doing your thing, living your life, and every time you hear it, you go up there to see who it is, but they're gone.
You're right, yeah.
So, I was gonna put cameras up there, but I don't want it going off every time a car goes by. So I'm still trying to figure out, because the police officer said that if you can get pictures of who's doing it, it is a criminal offense.
Yeah.
So, but how do you get pictures when you can't be up there all the time and the camera will just go off every time a car goes by?
Gotta be at the right place at the right time.
Well,
Yeah.
they got that kid on the place across the Whistle Stop on camera doing it. No, all he said was, I wasn't driving, and they didn't do anything about it, you know. We got a telephone pole at the intersection of Mountain Road, Wigan Road, and Cram Road. They like to go around that, you know, there's all kinds of marked out there, yeah.
This is so inconsiderate.
Yeah,
You know, it's just, it's dangerous and it's inconsiderate. And I don't care if, Merrick has these things, as long as he does it legally, as long as he lets people know and it's not more than like three times a year. But if it's gonna be, if he's treating it like a business now, I just sense that it's gonna be every weekend. And then we're gonna have people coming in there was people from Vermont there this time.
oh, yeah.
So, you know, then now you're talking, you know, increased traffic, increased danger, people drinking.
And the parking up on 107 too.
Yeah.
There was a couple of cars, I went by there the other day, and there was a couple of cars parked up there.
Mhm.
Now, last year was even worse than that, we were lined up down 107, and that's dangerous down that road.
Well, see, he has no abutters.
You're
The only
right,
abutters are the cattle farm down on Route 11.
yeah, yeah,
Then he borders Quaker Brook, which he's cut all the trees down, and he treats it like it's a lake. You know, he puts jet skis on it and has, I'm like, really? You know, it used to be this beautiful wildlife place,
Yeah.
and now
yeah.
it is what it is. But, so he doesn't have any, the only abutter he has is Barry,
Mhm.
and then the cattle
Steve Barry,
person.
Yeah,
So even though I don't abut him, it affects me, because I live literally right across from Barry.
yeah, Woods Mill Road, Yeah.
Mhm.
If you cut trees down and, within 100 feet of the stream, you might call the Maine Forest Service.
Yeah.
He's bush hog, right up next to the water.
Mhm.
I went out with Freddie one day,
Disgusting.
yeah.
Like, they have no respect. That's a really beautiful natural area.
Zoning ordinance violation.
It is exactly. What is the name of that brook again?
Quaker Brook. It goes all the way from Route 11, all the way to Saco River, and it goes up further. I think it comes down from the Crooked River.
Well, at least we get something started on it anyways.
Definitely.
We'll see where it goes.
If we take a really hard line with some of these, we gotta choose which ones, because it gets expensive, I understand that. But the word may get out that the town isn't gonna tolerate certain things, and it might make it easier in the future to keep them from getting started in the first place. At least that's the hope I have.
Take the time it takes now, so you don't have to take time later.
Might be cheaper.
Yeah, right.
Well, it might keep others from moving in for the same
Sure.
thing, or other similar types of activities. If somebody flagrantly with that many cars violates town ordinance and we don't take harsh action, that sends a signal to people, well, we're only gonna have 200 cars, we can do whatever we want.
Right.
And next thing you know, it's popping up all over town.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to take a pretty strong line with this.
Do you think, Joe, that, we talked about doing a mass gathering permit here 4 or 5 years, is that something that we might wanna be looking at again?
Apparently, that's what we're being told, isn't it?
Well,
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, we keep bumping up against this noise ordinance thing too. And the answer always comes back, it's hard to say what a noise is, or how to measure them.
Measure it, yeah.
But we've eased towards figuring that out. What do you allow, 45 decibels at the property line? Do you remember, Bob, this, because I forget, there's one number for the day and one number at night. The night number is lower.
Mm-hmm.
But that's state law.
Oh.
Or is it state law, or is it state standards for defining noise? We went through that with the Woods when they wanted to put that factory out here.
Oh, yeah.
And I forget when else we've run up against that. So it is possible to have a noise ordinance.
I believe Standard just passed one. They were gonna put that gun range down on.
yeah, I watched that on the news and on the
Yeah.
TV and stuff. I mean, they're coming up against it down there.
Yeah.
What they wanna do is down off the middle road, they wanna allow only 22s to be shot, but the most common gun out there today is an AR-15,
Yeah.
So everybody wants to.
Who has
shoot
a
them.
22, who wants a 22 anymore? I want a bigger one. I want
Yeah. But the noise difference between a 22 and an AR-15 is substantial.
Maybe it is time to have an event ordinance.
Something to think about
Something
anyways.
we can
Hey, it's a way
regulate.
for the town to make money too.
Well, at least we would know ahead of time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Something else to add to your list.
Well, Dwight, I don't like ordinances. I mean, I don't like adding to our ordinances just 'cause we got a jerk.
Yeah,
that's-
it takes one person to,
I've had events with a couple hundred people,
yeah.
and there was never any problem.
What's your respectful, Joe?
But you didn't do burnout, so no 130.
We ran chainsaws.
Well, that could be.
I think the code enforcement officer from Porter was very eloquent when he talked about the lack of tools at the local level to enforce ordinances.
Yeah,
Exactly, that's right.
Well, that's what I was trying to tell you today when so we don't have a police force,
That's right.
and we're up against it on that.
Mm-hmm.
And when unless you shot somebody, the sheriff comes and he's like, geez, how much I can really do?
Exactly.
yep.
You hate to hear that, but.
No, they're nice guys and all, and I know they have a hard job, but they're not there to police our town ordinances, is what they said.
Right, right.
So,
They told us the same thing.
Sheriff.
The head sheriff come right here and told us
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
up there in Holland.
Yeah. So we can get something started for you anyways.
Mhm.
We'll see where this goes.
I just wanted to be, forthcoming that I don't mind him having events. I just would, and I'm not gonna go search out for Facebook. I think he should get permission from the town. The town should know, he should have certain things set up. He did have emergency vehicles there, which was good, but, he could make it certain hours and certain days out of the year, just be a little bit more respectful than just, I guess they're having another event today, and I guess my only day off is gonna be listening to squealing tires. I work a lot, so when I'm home for the day, I wanna hear the birds. I wanna hear the peepers, I don't wanna hear that. But it's, everybody has their thing, I get that. But it's like, we know ahead of time I can take another day off, I'm totally workable. I don't wanna be a jerk of a neighbor, but he just has no respect. He doesn't have respect when he blows M80s off over the pond because he's having a party and my horses are freaking out. He has no respect. So, in that sense, he will keep going and go further and further and further until somebody says, these are the rules, you will follow them or you will leave. Because I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm just going by rumor, but I've heard that he was pushed out of another place because of his.
He came and told the planning board that Gorham kicked him out. Gorham was kicking him out of Gorham. That's what he said.
Yeah. But there's gotta be a reason for that.
Yeah. He didn't tell us reason, he just told they were kicking him
Well,
out.
they wouldn't allow him to have a racetrack down there, back of the farm down there.
Well, he's made a racetrack through the woods. He's getting ready to have motocross. There are trails made all through that property, and I mean roads.
I've been there with Freddie,
Oh, yeah, Freddie.
yeah.
You can see
Freddie
some-
upset about it too? I didn't even ask him.
We was looking for something else,
Yeah,
and he's always been able to use that land in the past.
yeah,
And now somebody else is on it and stuff, so he's a little restricted.
yeah.
That's how I know that they just took a bush hog and went up to the side of the pond, and, it looks nice. But Lester would roll over in his grave if he knew they was riding jet skis and stuff.
But they don't
like that.
understand the consequences of that,
No.
The consequences of opening that up to the sunlight, you're ruining the natural fauna, you're ruining, that's a wetland,
Yeah.
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 this isn't Auburn, Massachusetts, or, Portland, or should I say Scarborough, the marsh. You don't fill in those things, you don't change those things, you leave them because there's a lot of animals and wildlife that depend on that.
Well, the ecosystem,
It does.
part of it,
It-
and stuff.
that guy does it, then the next guy does it, then they're gonna sell a lot, and then everybody's gonna have a boat slip
Yeah.
on the pond, and then they're gonna wanna dredge the pond, and then, what's next? You leave it alone, it's a natural place.
Yeah.
I wish I was a billionaire, so I could just buy it all and make it into a nature preserve, but, that,
I think the state missed their boat when they had that land for Maine's future. They had so much money for it. I know they was approached to buy that,
yeah,
and they wouldn't do it.
they should've.
They don't land out back of that, don't they?
Yeah,
If you
it's
walk
wrong.
that wetland is absolutely the most amazing place you'll ever see. If you walk all those woods along that brook, it's absolutely stunning what's there. I've ridden it with my horses, hiked it, released animals, because Fred owns a lot of it.
How are you making it with your ATV problem you had?
Somebody put up a sign. Because of I didn't really memorize it, but something about soil or whatever, somebody blocked it. I have to call Chris and see if Chris did it, because Chris and I own that together, but I left it in his name for a reason, but, somebody put up a sign on both sides of 107, trail's
Well,
closed.
that's a good thing then,
It is a good thing, so I don't have to close it.
yeah.
I don't have to be the bad guy. And once again, I don't care if people use the trails, but the side-by-sides are getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have the money to fix those trails when they're destroyed, so they need to recover somehow.
Well, all right,
Well, it's good to have this conversation anyway.
well, it is. I mean, and like when she asked me if we had any complaints, I mean, I had 0 complaints.
Yeah, I haven't heard any either.
You had 2, so, but you said you had 1? No?
No.
Joe.
Everybody calls Joe.
And this helps me write a stronger letter when I hear more of the story.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think the more complaints we can get in writing is be a good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm kind of afraid of the guy, to be honest. I'll do what I need to do, but I'm afraid of the guy. He's not
I don't blame
exactly,
you.
he's not exactly rap tight, from what I understand, so.
He does have a arrest record.
Mhm.
It's no request.
And the police pretty much told me, he
We
hates
want
police.
you to go, Don.
And we went there during the last event, and there was 500 people there, and we had 6 people, and we had a hard time from those people. He goes, so if we get called again, we'll be going in there with full guns. So, he pretty much said he does not like police,
Right.
so.
Yeah. Yeah.
With cause.
I think he had that on signs and telephone poles, like.
Yeah.
Police to stay away, whatever.
You get it marked.
Yeah, no trespassing signs.
Yeah.
I call Central Maine, tell them the signs on their pole.
If I drop out of sight, I don't know where I went.
Maybe you should take an axe for
What's Mill Pond, go find you there.
Oh, boy.
That are good concrete slabs.
Okay, that's all I got on the agenda here. Bob, did you get anything?
Well, Chris has left, Stevie's here, but, we're getting a lot of complaints of, road signs taken. Senator Black is gone again.
Again?
So we've got like 17 to 22 signs missing. They've not only gone from just name road signs, they're also stealing stop signs and a pole.
Right. That's not dangerous.
Yeah, right. So,
They do cash them in for the metal?
I don't know what
They sell them, I told you, they sell them in antique shops.
Yeah, I've seen them there too.
And it's legal because they claim that the state gives them, these people, the signs, so who's to say?
Right.
You know, unless you get it in writing.
I've never
That
seen the
guy-
state give anything away.
we do have a lot of the signs that need to be put back up. We're waiting on poles at this point, some of them.
Well, now you know why they're stealing the poles. They're hard to come by.
They're trucking.
Probably are using them for metal.
That all you got, Robin?
I did talk with Kyle Libby, the baseball coach, and, on the few nights that there's home games where he has to come in, early before the BAK program is closed for the day, he will physically speak with a person, whether it be Megan or whoever's in charge down there, to make sure that the children are either off the playground or they're corralled to a safe area before he drives out.
Good.
Well, I noticed tonight too that, I mean, I was here about 25 after 5, and there's very few cars parked out back there. But there was a lot down at the end of the building,
Mhm.
which, so I think they're getting the word a little late. So they're trying to cooperate.
Yep. Yep, no, he was, completely, understanding of that and, you know, wanted to make sure that the kids are safe. So, I think his pushback initially came from the thought that he wouldn't be allowed up there at all
Yeah.
with a vehicle. And, but that wasn't it. We just wanted to kind of stop, look, and listen, and make sure all the kids were,
Safe.
safe, yeah.
That's all we're looking for.
Yeah.
Bob, you get anything more? Jimmy?
One thing, I mentioned to Deb when I came in, the bars on the doors, this door and that door up there, the marked exits. they're gonna be taken off while there's people here.
Well, it's occupied,
Right.
yeah.
And also, the one going into the multi-purpose room, if we put a, not an exit sign down there, that'll cover that door from not being a marked exit. So if you can maybe look at Granger or some sign company for, that says not an exit, you just put that right on the door and we'll be covered.
Now, which door is this, Jay?
Going into the auditorium,
Okay,
yeah, the one you keep locked because you want to
okay,
keep it separate.
gotcha. But they can get out
They
in
can
case
get
of
out,
a
yeah,
fire,
they're gonna push by
yeah.
the one-way door.
It's just to keep the public out, away from the kids.
Right.
That all you got, Jimmy?
Yep.
I got two things here. Sand pulling the beach attendant, have you had any activity on that at all?
No,
And what do we know about the attendant we had last year?
I didn't think that,
Other than Chad?
That's what I'm talking about,
Oh, you got
Chad.
Chad?
Yeah. Does he get a vehicle at all now?
Chad came in and got his vest, so he anticipates,
Oh, so
Doing
that's,
it,
that
yeah.
falls into place then.
right, it's just the assistant to Chad that we're looking for.
Yeah.
So, I would have to ask Debbie, but to my knowledge, nobody's pulled an application.
And Stevie, how you doing on the roads?
We're getting there. I think today was about the last day getting the, sides of the roads buttoned up. We worked on Rocky Dunn and Chase today and the rest of Douglas Hill. Tomorrow we plan on starting to coal batch. So, it's some of the holes filled in.
Now, you had I see you put an email already to him on the Mountain Road?
Brown Road,
Yeah.
I think Sarah,
Murphy,
yeah,
Old Man Murphy.
Mhm.
Yeah, he left a message down the shop.
okay, he left a message for us, and then I sent an email, to Chris on that. And I know that Sarah had a couple of messages, I can't tell you where for sure, but, with road concerns, but,
I mean, it's a big job. I mean, there's a lot of washouts and stuff.
A lot of paving.
Here comes Chris now.
Yeah.
I was over at Sebago the other day, I mean, and coming across on 107 in Sebago, I mean, there's big washouts still over there. So we're not the only town that's still working on them.
So I had cost today up in Fairfield, and I talked to Jim, and he submitted, I think he said 68,000 to FEMA, which compared to last time, it was almost double. Same thing with us, you know, we submitted almost $190,000 to FEMA, after it was all said and done, which is double from what we did last time. And I know a lot of other towns had to do the same thing. You know, I was in a room today with 15 other towns, and most of them all said that they got hit hard and it was worse than the December storm.
Wow, yeah.
It was a general consensus that we were all like, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but unfortunately, we're more southern parts of Cumberland County affected, and
That's the hard part, is that, you know, everything below us has a little better infrastructure. But there was a fair amount, I guess, that the state lost on the state level, bridges.
So look at Route 11.
Yeah.
Going into Limerick, it's shut down for at least another 6 weeks.
Yeah.
They just awarded a contract on that over there, it's
Yeah.
what, $900,000?
Yeah. Of course, it's not Cumberland County.
No, that's not.
But there was a fair amount also that was still happening in Cumberland County that took it hard.
so you're hopeful.
Sure.
We'll go with that.
I am hopeful on one level, yes.
Maybe it's something we should.
That I know that the consensus was that everyone had worse damage, that's my hopeful. I know last time we were about $1 million short of meeting the threshold. If everyone doubled, we shouldn't have a problem getting the threshold. And then it will depend on FEMA when they come out and do our inspection and say, that qualifies, that does not. that does not, that does not, that does not, that does not. And they make you take it off your budget. So,
Anyway, we got the data,
they've got it,
we got the bill.
we got the bill, we're fixing roads, we're moving forward.
Thank you. I have a question. Who do you ask to lower speed limits at an
State of Maine.
intersection? The state of Maine?
Yep, all speed limits are set by the Maine DOT. So you would have to request, well, technically speaking, I think I have to request, or the select board has to request, a speed study done by the Maine DOT, and when they get to it, 'cause it's
Usually it's a
state,
year.
a year or more, they will come out and they will do the speed study, crash accident reports, the housing, the, dwellings near it, and what the average speed is carried throughout. So in places, for instance, Hancock Pond Road in Sebago, there was a lady that kept insisting that the town initiate a speed study. The road wasn't posted, which means it's 45.
Yeah.
And the result of her speed study, she did not like the results because it came back and they posted the road at 50.
Oh, no.
That's what they did with Fremont Avenue too.
Yeah.
We tried to
So
get that
this,
changed.
Yeah.
speed studies are good in one way.
So
Not
you did a speed
good.
study and they increased the speed?
Yeah.
Because it's based off accidents.
Well, then I know it's 3 or 4
and-
that have been there, right, at that
And
intersection.
average speed traveled.
Yeah.
So if everyone drives 65,
Well, they were hoping that the speed limit would go down on that road, but it actually, it stayed the same, it was 45.
right,
But
it was just
People do
unbelievable.
Way
60,
too fast.
65
Right.
through there.
Yeah, they do.
You gotta be really careful pulling out of my road.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Cause they're not there, and then all of a sudden they're there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's one of the
And that's
things
why I'm
that
concerned about these kids
It
doing
could-
donuts there, because
it could drop
it's
lower.
gonna be a nightmare, I'm telling you.
It could drop lower as far as the speed limit, or they could keep it the same,
Yeah.
or it could go up.
Well, there's houses there now,
There are houses there now.
yes.
However, the average speed has not slowed down.
Well, I'll just have to jump out there and slow everybody down when they get on. There you go. Shouldn't be over. I don't know.
Dawn, did you get anything?
I'm all set, thank you.
Mike? Kathleen?
The water has gone down in the elevator shaft because a couple of very helpful firefighters and some road crew people came to supervise it. But after it got drained, it started to fill up again. Not as far as it was when we started,
Elevator?
but there's a drain, there are 2 drains out on School, Norton Street on that corner. The lower drain drains down the old School Street. There's actually a big drainage ditch that's got a culvert, rocks and so forth to support it, and it's clogged. So that's where some help could happen. And that would help to eliminate the moisture in the elevator shaft. Because I don't want it to go to mold. Right now, it's got enough oil to keep it, vapor, nothing's gonna grow on it, but that could change, I don't know. Other than that, we're doing okay. We need to do the summer reading program, we're ramping up for that. Story hour is a big hit. Lots of adults and kids coming to that, that's really a big plus. And we'll hope to do some kid classes for, sewing, construction, and arts and crafts and that kind of thing. See what we can do to get more people coming in there.
That's good.
So,
Chris? You all set?
Roads, working on it.
Yeah, well, Stevie told us that while you was out.
I figured, that's why I got nothing.
Your man took care of you.
Perfect, that's why he's my number 2. He
Joe?
scared me.
Number 2.
Nothing? Mary?
I was gonna ask Joe? Oh, you already asked him?
Yes.
I'm sorry. No, I don't really have anything to say, and I really appreciate all the work that you're doing. It's just, everything seems like to be a nightmare now in this country.
Yeah, you're right.
I can't, I was watching the news tonight, and they're talking about putting all these migrants in schools. I hope we don't do that in this district.
Yeah, yeah.
do they approach you about taking anybody like that, or here, or, you know, do we have any place we could put anybody, or?
I'll take a few of them if they know how to ride horses.
Box stalls, anything, right?
No, I just want people to ride my horses.
I don't know how. Like volunteer.
Give me some farm hands.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I appreciate all that you do anyway.
Thank you.
Wendy, you get anything more?
I just wanted to know how you're doing with a code enforcement officer.
Doing good,
There
is
he
that
is.
right?
Oh, excellent, great, love it.
Senior lunch,
It's just tomorrow.
yes,
But you don't
how do we
qualify.
get on the list?
Not yet.
I'll take care
Almost.
of it for you.
When AARP starts sending you stuff, you know you're in trouble.
I've been suffering 10 years for them people.
I know.
No, who's the new one now, the other one?
I'm grateful I'm dead.
Yeah.
No, who's the conservative kind of,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
what is it called?
People to the, I can't remember what it is either.
I don't know. There's instead of using AARP, if you're conservative,
Yeah,
there's-
I
there's
didn't know
another
that.
company
I
now.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes,
there is. I can't remember what it is
like,
either.
I've lost it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it.
Where's it called? Wow.
Take one day at a time now.
Yeah.
What can you do, you know?
I just don't watch TV anymore. I
Oh,
had to give
I
it up.
can't.
It's just
I
too
do,
stressful.
I do, and I
Yeah.
just, you're right, it is very stressful.
Yeah.
It's really stressful.
Well, that's all I got. You guys are all set.
I'm all set.
I'm moved to adjourn.
Can't really do anything about it.
Just Google it,
Amen.
just Google it,
I will.
because I've lost it.
Wendy, amen.
AMAC, thank you. AMAC.